Joining us live now is Rod Martin, Chairman of the Institute for the American Future and board member of the Center for Security Policy. Good to have you with us this morning, Rod. As we heard just now, President Trump's ceasefire announcement coincides with the release of American journalist Shelley Kittleson, who was kidnapped by the Iran-backed Kataib Hezbollah militia in Iraq. How does this development demonstrate the effectiveness of America's firm stance? And what does it signal to Tehran at the same time?
Well, the president has been very focused in both of his terms on getting Americans held captive around the world released. And this is not surprising. It does demonstrate that there are some teeth to this ceasefire, which is honestly a huge opportunity for the president, depending on which way he's going to go with it. I mean, first, you have the possibility that we really are in a position to negotiate with the remnants of the Iranian regime, having decimated their ranks, having eliminated their top leadership, having eliminated most of their ability to wage war. It is possible that they listened to his ultimatum and said, look, we just can't take it anymore. So perhaps we can actually have a meaningful negotiation. My guess is it's actually more option two. Option two is this actually buys a moment, a 2-week opening for all of those tankers bottled up in the Persian Gulf to get out, which stabilizes oil prices at a lower number. I saw WTI as low as 93 a barrel here a minute ago. This is a boon to a lot of people that we're allied with and a few people like China who we aren't. And it actually does some good things for the United States while we actually get ready, I think, for the arming and rising of the Iranian people. The president said some very interesting things in the last 48 hours about that. One of them, of course, this interesting tweet about having sent arms through the Kurds, and the Kurds stole a bunch of it and sold it. That seems unlikely. It seems like a distraction, but it doesn't seem unrealistic that we would be arming the Iranian people, and I doubt very much that that one channel would be the only means. Second, you need to cease bombing long enough for those people to be able to do what they need to do in some relative safety. They have enough trouble with Bosage and the IRGC. They don't need to be being bombed at the same time. So I think there's a decent chance that we see over the next 2 weeks that opportunity. The president said that second statement I alluded to, that he was worried that people in Iran would be concerned that he was going to leave them in the lurch, and that will not happen. Okay, all these pieces fit together if that's the aim, and if not, perhaps we get to a more reasonable regime in Tehran through negotiation, but I'm betting it's option two.
Now, looking more broadly at responses to this ceasefire, some world leaders have responded positively but cautiously. In your view, how important is it for the U.S. to keep targeted pressure on Iran's proxies while coordinating with the allies to turn this temporary pause into something more durable?
Oh, it's absolutely essential. You know, take the case of Hezbollah, which has occupied the southern portion of Lebanon virtually my whole lifetime. You know, this is just an arm of the Iranian regime. There's no other way to describe it. They are directed, funded, armed from Tehran, and they're sitting there lobbing missiles into Israel whenever they feel like it. Well, if we had a similar enemy force, particularly a state-sponsored one, sitting across the Rio Grande, lobbing missiles into Brownsville and San Antonio, it wouldn't take 10 minutes for the United States Army to be in Mexico clearing that out. The Israelis have actually shown tremendous restraint. We're not really willing to let the Houthis hold shipping hostage in the Red Sea. Joe Biden was, but Donald Trump certainly isn't, and we've seen him act against that. So I think we will see continued pressure there. I also note that the Iranians have conducted a number of attacks since the ceasefire was announced. They conducted a drone strike in Kuwait this morning. They were still firing missiles at Israel late last night before I went to bed. You know, they are not being a good actor in this. And so I think there's a decent chance the ceasefire could fall apart significantly before 2 weeks if they continue in that vein. But the bottom line is Donald Trump has reached a point where the Iranian regime is sufficiently afraid of what he was about to do for them to act in a positive way. And that buys us some time for some things that I think could be really transformative.
Watching it closely. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Rod Martin.
Thank you.